90-Day Fiancé star Annie Suwan thinks she's made the best decision by getting married to David Toborowski, even though the start of their storyline was rough and never showed any signs that they'd stay together. Annie, from a small village in Thailand, caught David's attention when she was singing at a bar. David thought he was hearing the voice of an angel and offered Annie a drink. A few days later, David proposed to Annie. David was 24 years older than Annie. He had children who were as old as her. David was also on a journey to transform himself when he met Annie. He had been through a divorce with his wife of 21 years, lost his job, house, and car, and had suffered a stroke. After taking his health into his own hands, David lost several pounds and went to Thailand for a fresh start when he crossed paths with Annie. Perhaps the universe conspired for them to meet, since 90-Day Fiancé became something that changed Annie and David's lives forever. Annie and David announced they were expecting a baby in a September 2024 interview with Us Weekly. Annie shared her excitement, saying she was over the moon after confirming her pregnancy in July. She expressed gratitude for the overwhelming love and support they received from fans during their IVF journey, calling it a powerful experience of turning the impossible into reality. Annie also opened up about her fertility struggles, describing the decision to pursue IVF as the best decision she's ever made. While she called it an amazing journey, she admitted it had been deeply emotional as well. Annie had to get some fibroids removed before undergoing the IVF process. David, who'd gotten a vasectomy to get his sperm surgically removed, and they did it on Valentine's Day, which David considers auspicious. He described the IVF process as a miracle. David and Annie are forever thankful that they decided to participate in 90-Day Fiancé. It allowed them the opportunity to share their journey. Annie and David are humbled and honored to be a part of the franchise for 8 years. Annie came from a humble background. She met David when he, too, wasn't in a good place financially. David was relying on the generosity of David's friend Chris Thiemann, who had been loaning David money. Chris reportedly funded David's engagement and wedding to Annie. David was living with Annie in a firehouse owned by Chris when she came to the U.S. However, Chris decided to later sell off the firehouse and forced David to leave within 3 days. He offered David and Annie a chance to live in an apartment above a storage facility without a stove or functioning windows. Annie had been sold false hopes about what it was like to live in America. She obviously became upset about the new house. David asked Annie to trust her, and Annie didn't betray him. David understood the level of disappointment Annie was feeling because he pulled up his socks and dragged them out of the financial mess he created. David figured out how to make money using their reality TV fame. They earned through sources like Cameo, and David was able to purchase a home worth $500,000 in Fountain Hills, Arizona. He took up a career in real estate. Annie did have to struggle for the first 4 or 5 years of her marriage, but David tried his best to treat her like a queen. Earlier, whenever Annie and David were asked when they would like to have kids, they never had a proper answer. They seemed to have made up their minds not to have children, but it's possible they didn't want to expand their family while they were in a sketchy financial state. It was only after they moved into the new house that Annie and David decided to try IVF. Annie became pregnant on the first try. Fans have learned to spot social media clues that suggest a couple has broken up. It could be unfollowing each other or throwing shade through stories and captions. However, in Annie and David's case, nothing like that has ever happened. Although both of them post almost every event of their lives online, they have never created relationship drama for all to see. Their love for each other shines through their posts, showing how different they are from most other toxic 90-Day Fiancé couples. Their consistency and genuine affection continue to set them apart in the reality TV world. Many aspects of their relationship prove they are truly made for each other. Despite facing criticism for their age gap, they'd never let it affect their bond. David's young at heart and willingly takes part in things that make Annie happy. They've also worked through their language barrier with time and patience. Annie sacrificed a lot to build a life